Remember 2019? It was a time of bustling streets, crowded events, and families enjoying parks without a care in the world. Feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? The world was vibrant and full of life. We were all just going about our lives, immersed in our daily routines, enjoying happy gatherings and commuting through busy subways. Then everything changed. The world hasn't been the same since. Empty streets, boarded-up shops, and quiet parks became the new normal. It's like we stepped into a different reality, one that feels surreal and unsettling. There's a sense of unease in the air. People are worried. Things feel unstable. Masks, social distancing, and empty playgrounds became symbols of our new reality. We're facing challenges we've never seen before, but why? Protests, food bank lines, and closed businesses tell the story. A global pandemic hit us hard. The economy went haywire. Lockdowns, masks, and empty shelves became common sights. The climate crisis got real really fast. Wildfires, floods, and melting glaciers became urgent reminders. These events have left their mark. Damaged buildings and deserted squares reflect our collective concern. They've shaken us to our core. Yet in these trying times, we've found moments of support and reflection. We're still trying to understand it all. Scientists, news updates, and discussions are our tools for making sense of it. One thing's for sure, the world has changed. Seasons change, cities evolve, and people adapt, and we're all trying to adapt. Families, individuals, and communities are finding new ways to connect and thrive. It all started with COVID-19. A virus that seemed distant and far away suddenly became a global crisis. This virus spread like wildfire, crossing borders and oceans with ease. Suddenly, we were in lockdown. Streets that were once bustling with life became eerily silent. Our lives were turned upside down. Everyday routines were disrupted, and normalcy became a distant memory. We couldn't go out, see friends, or even hug our families. Social connections were severed. The pandemic took a toll on our health. Millions got sick, overwhelming healthcare systems worldwide. Many, tragically, lost their lives. Families were left grieving, unable to say proper goodbyes. Even those who stayed healthy felt the impact. Work and school moved online, creating new challenges. Lockdowns led to isolation and loneliness. Mental health suffered as people struggled with the new reality. Anxiety and depression were on the rise. The uncertainty of the future weighed heavily on everyone. The pandemic changed how we live, work, and interact. Social distancing became the norm. It forced us to confront our mortality. We had to adapt to a new way of life. It was a wake-up call, reminding us of our vulnerability. The world had to come together to fight this invisible enemy. The scars of this experience run deep. But through it all, we found resilience and hope. The pandemic wasn't just a health crisis, it was a seismic event that shook the very foundations of our global economy. It triggered an economic earthquake. Businesses shut down, people lost their jobs, entire industries were brought to their knees. The global economy went into a tailspin. Stock markets crashed and factories fell silent. We saw lines at food banks stretching longer than ever before. Millions were pushed into poverty, losing not just their jobs but their homes and sense of security. It was a stark reminder of inequality. The divide between the haves and the have-nots became more glaring. The pandemic exposed the cracks in our economic systems, revealing vulnerabilities we could no longer ignore. The gap between the rich and the poor widened, highlighting the urgent need for systemic change. Essential workers, often on the lower end of the income scale, were hailed as heroes, but continued to struggle with low wages and high risks. The economic fallout from the pandemic continues to affect us, with small businesses closing and unemployment rates soaring. It's a reminder that our systems are fragile and in need of robust reforms. And we need to find ways to build back better, creating a more resilient and equitable future for all. As if the pandemic wasn't enough, the climate crisis intensified. Extreme weather events became more frequent and severe. We saw record-breaking heat waves, massive wildfires, devastating floods, and intense hurricanes. These events were a stark reminder that climate change is real. And it's happening now. Glaciers are melting at an alarming rate, contributing to rising sea levels. This threatens coastal communities and ecosystems. We're seeing the impact of climate change firsthand. It's a sobering reminder that we need to act urgently to address this global threat.